Hello, everybody. How's it going? We are back once again. We're getting into some Survivor 44 talk. It's like a separate chat happening right now. Yeah, here we are. We're Strat Chat. We're talking about episodes 10 and 11 of Survivor 44 tonight. We're already a little bit cracked tonight. It's only Monday, but we're a little bit cracked. So this should be interesting. This should be fun. I'm excited. Let's kick this sucker off.
Let's do it.
All right, here we are. I am John Dunphy. I am joined, as always, by my fellow tribe mates, Mr. Kyle Petty, Miss Gina Morgino, and of course, Mr. Mikey Mormon. We're Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. If you want to check us out on the socials, you should do that because we're awesome. So check us out at Strat Chat Pod. We're on places like Twitter and Instagram, all the big ones, right? And you can even check out a website that we have that was created by Kyle Petty, and it can be found at www.stratchatpod.com. Okay.
We're also on TikTok. Tell them about the clock.
And TikTok. Oh my God. Yeah, I always forget about the clock app. The half talk.
Yeah.
We're on there
Gina's
too.
App.
Yeah, Strat Chat.
Gina's app.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get into that.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited to talk about some Survivor tonight. So we can kick it off with episode 10. We saw first of all, these two episodes, 10 and 11, we saw two big players leave this game.
We did.
Franny, yeah.
Oh,
Franny and Danny.
Franny. Yeah. I said, I don't know what happened in that other one.
We lost Dranny in these two episodes.
Dranny.
Dranny, yeah.
Dranny.
Like DR, yeah, because it's Danny and Franny.
It's their
Franny.
couple name because they were they were the romantic couple of the season, Danny and Franny.
Famously, yes.
You didn't like that? Oh man,
I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It was a stupid thing. Matt Blevins. Is somebody calling out Matt Blevins on Twitter right now?
Kyle Petty did.
Oh. What happened?
I said we're live. I said, where are you? WTF.
Wow. He's got a good excuse though.
What was he doing?
He says, "Sorry, I got high. I got distracted reading Power Rangers fan fiction. I'm so sorry." So we can forgive.
I love that for him.
It's an excuse. Whether or not that's good is, rather subjective.
All right, let's get into these episodes. So we pretty much opened episode 10. Not much happened right off the jump until we got to the reward challenge, where Franny showed her comp beast, abilities once again to win yet another individual competition. Now, I was happy to see her win, obviously, but should this have been a competition that Franny threw? She's been winning a lot. She's won immunities. She's already becoming a bigger threat. I get it. This reward was for tacos and margaritas and letters from home. But I don't know. You think this is one that she maybe should have thrown? Her name was getting thrown out. She became a target instantly. If she wasn't already won, this competition seemed to really put it over the edge. People looking at her and saying her name. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, first off the bat, I was just excited to see a straight up reward challenge. That for me was
finally.
Honestly, it was
back to basics.
Literally, I was like, "Oh my God, just a reward, no immunity. That's fantastic."
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm generally against throwing challenges. I just don't. I get that there's often strategic reason for it, but I don't like to watch people not try in the challenges. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If she didn't, I mean, but realistically, strategically, she should have been able to see maybe I need to hold back a little bit on this one. This isn't for immunity. My life isn't on the line here. Just maybe not try so hard. But I don't know. It also might come down to the fact that the rest of the tribe just isn't performing well enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, she did smoke them in this one. By the time they got to the very end, they had to throw those balls up to the top of the that top of that structure. She was the only one to even get one up there. No one else even got one ball up there. She had both of them up there, so she did great. But it was just one of those where it's like, all right, especially when you're just getting only a reward challenge, like that would. I mean, I don't know if I'm in that situation. I guess I don't know what my thought would be really, because I've never been in that situation.
Let's hear it for the big girls, because like, what are you talking about? Like, bitches be hungry. This was tacos, this was margaritas, there was actual alcohol in that. You know, because after the group was chosen, we definitely know that there was real alcohol in this, because we had a sober person there, right? So like, come on now, this was not some throwaway reward. Like this was
absolutely not.
This was a get down party. Okay,
I guess I just feel like I guess my thought was like, this could be the type of competition that you lose and you're not losing out on immunity.
I hear that. I definitely hear that. But if there's anyone to not lose, if there's anyone to roll the dice on, it was this one. one.
No,
margaritas and tacos. Sorry,
well, she rolled the dice and it came up snake eyes for her. So
I don't disagree with you. I love tacos. Yeah. I've had actually several tacos just today. So like, I get it.
All right, let's hear it for tacos.
I get it. Yeah, but yeah, that was my thought. Because here's the thing too: you might lose, and then whoever wins, brings you to the reward anyway. You know what I mean? So. I don't know, but once Franny won this, she elected, and I thought this was very nice, so close to Mother's Day, she elected to take the three moms. She took Carolyn, she took Lauren, and she took Heidi, and those were our four women who got to go on the reward part of this. So that was very nice.
You know, this is going to be airing around Mother's Day times.
She was really in tune to it all.
Yeah,
right. Really,
I'm trying to get my Hallmark sponsorship over here.
So Franny wins. They go off, and they really started to set up a plan to try to take out Danny. Meanwhile, back at camp, the losers of the competition and the ones that weren't chosen for the reward started to target Danny. But before we actually kind of move on, I did want to just call out, especially because of Mother's Day, we know that there's somebody on this podcast that always loves the family segments, right? Whenever people get, letters from home or video messages. So before we really talk about the letters from home and kind of how that was a nice touching moment, I created something just for Kyle to celebrate these family segments that we got on all these shows. It's something I'd like to continue for when we move into Big Brother 25 and everything.
Like family moments.
But before you give your thoughts, Kyle, I just want to do this real quick. This is just for Kyle, everybody. Here we go. Welcome everybody.
How dare you use my likeness for this crap?
Welcome everyone to Family Time with Kyle Petty.
Oh my god!
I don't.
So Kyle, what did you think? What'd you think of these letters from home, Kyle?
I didn't hate these letters from home. Actually,
wow,
it's just really terrible. That's really not the version of me that wanted to come into tonight. I didn't hate this. What I don't like though is that people know that they didn't get them. Don't tell the other people that they missed out. Just let it be something that they did there, and then the people that got the letters can decide what they want to do with that information. You can just keep it to yourself or not. I don't think
it makes the other people feel shitty, but then it's also the person now, in Franny's position, it's how am I supposed to be the one to say, you know what, you don't get a letter from home?
Right. You can't say that did not hurt Franny's game a little bit. It was bad enough that she won this challenge and now she's looking like more of a threat because she did so. But now you're also the reason that I didn't get a letter from home. So you didn't just keep me from happy hour. You didn't just keep me from some good tapas. You also kept me from my family. Now, honestly, girl, I've had enough now. So the next time you lose, get the fuck out of here. I've had enough now,
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's designed for that though. I'm 100% sure they designed it with the intention of putting the target on the back. There's no way.
That's not nice. That's not nice. That's like picking up. That's like playing Monopoly and getting the bonk bonk. You owe $200 per hotel, and one of those things. Fuck you. It's not my fault.
I will say though, I gotta say, especially with these shorter seasons, maybe I'm heartless, but you've been gone for 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks, maybe 3. I could go for 2 months. I think we talked about this on 41 when his face was like, "We want our letters."
Family moments. This is the whole issue. Like, man up.
It is not. There's too much money on the line, and you have not been away from home long enough to warrant all this. All this.
There are people in real life that actually do this. You know, they don't see their partners for like over a year. You know, like a proper like long distance relationship. Like, can you imagine like people who go on tour? People go on cruises.
Yeah,
they're going longer than this. Be quiet. Oh my gosh, I had to have a letter.
I went like 3 4
4
months without seeing my family when I went on the cruise ship. I mean, like, you get to talk to them, of course, but it's a little different. The stress is lower, but like, there's $1 million on the line.
There's $1 million on the line, but it's also still less time. Like, you're talking about you're away for 4 to 6 months. These people are away for a month.
A month.
I mean, maybe an extra 2 weeks because, you know, your COVID quarantine, but like, no, that time is all built in. Like, what, 45 days? Come on.
I get it. Australian Survivor, I get it a little more. You're out there for like 2.5 months, or a little over 2 more, whatever. It's longer, is where I'm trying to say. and you're out there longer, and I get that one, but these seasons are not long enough for these family moments to be such a big deal. I agree with Kyle. I don't know.
I don't always get them in Australia either. There's no version of any of these shows that we watch that I ever think this is ever necessary. Not to the extent that they make it. All the tears and all this carrying on. Now, I was behind it in Australian Survivor when, you know, we had Jordy and Matt with kids. Like,
sure.
With the pregnant wives.
Yeah. That was a little bit of a different situation. Like,
oh my God. And what was it? What was his name? Found out his wife was pregnant on the season, like got the letter with the ultrasound picture. That was a great moment.
I don't know who that was now.
Oh, it was.
Did I watch that season?
It was Jordy's first season. It was that season.
Okay. I don't think I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Unless I did.
There's a great moment with it. So.
Yeah. We introduced Mikey to Australian Survivor, and then
he watched every season.
He watched every single season in a week. Yeah.
In less than 2 months, I watched a lot of Survivor.
Like, we're gonna introduce this to you. We're probably not really gonna like it, but
yeah.
He came back the next day, like, I'm done.
yeah.
You know, it's the ADHD.
Well, with that, this has been Family Time with Kyle Petty. All right.
Bookending it was really nice.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
with a heart full of contempt.
I was half expecting like a video of Kyle's family to pop up right after that. I gotta be honest.
Next time.
Stop. The evolution of.
Yeah. Okay, but so some nice family time. We had a reward challenge. The reward people were all targeting Danny, it seemed like, and all the non-reward people were targeting Franny, from what we saw. But kind of in the middle of all that, because we actually talked about this, I think the last time we were together. So Jamie's fake idol, which she didn't know was fake, left with Kane, right, when he was gone. And she decided honesty is the best policy. Everyone knew about my idol. I don't have it anymore. I'm just going to tell them what happened with it. She told them, you know, we were nervous about knowledge is power. So I gave my idol to Kane, and he got evicted, or got voted out.
Evicted.
Yeah. So, you know, now my idol's gone. Not a single person believed her.
It was so wild watching them all be like, does she think we're idiots? And it's like, I mean, you kind of are, because she's not lying.
Right, but I also could understand thinking that if I was in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, get the hell out of here. You think
It
I was born yesterday? Like, my DRs would have been off the chain.
It was mildly infuriating to watch, because I think I would have done what she did. I think I would have told everyone, just been like, hey, straight up, I don't have it anymore. I don't know, maybe it's just because of the way that she's been thus far, but I really was expecting that to go much better for her than it
Yeah, no
It
defense
put a
necessary,
huge
'cause
target
if I
on
was
her.
her, I would have done the same. But I would have done the
Sure.
same with everyone involved in this whole situation. Like, I totally got both sides of this.
It put a huge target on her
It
back.
sure did, and she also
Yeah.
didn't sound very good saying it. Like when she was saying it, she was like, right? So he left with it, you know, right? You believe me, right? You believe me? And it was like, this feels very intense and uncomfortable.
I also really enjoyed her like separate confessionals where like they would show her being like, yeah, I told everybody and now I just feel great, you know, the truth will set you free. And then they cut back to Danny being like, oh, so that whole story was BS, huh?
It's great.
But I see my initial thought on this was that like I don't know if I would have told everybody, because to me it's almost like let everybody just continue to think I have an idol so that maybe they think twice about, you know, voting to send me home.
Well, the problem with that though is that they might try to flush it out, so they could like vote for her just to get her to use it.
Right, and you've got nothing, and all of a sudden you're out on your ass.
She's also very clearly a nervous person, so I think for her, like the idea, you know, just like I think for her, just like being as little to hide as possible was probably what she was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't blame her.
I also was a little surprised. I thought that she was going to have some more support here, because to me, I really felt like that whole exchange, right, where Jamie gave her idol to Kane, Lauren gave her extra vote to Jamie. I thought the three of them were all in the loop together on that. So I actually thought that Jamie was going to say something, even if people don't believe her. Shouldn't Lauren be able to back her up and say, no, she really did give her idol to Kane because I gave Jamie my extra vote. The whole point of this was to spread things around because knowledge is power. So I was surprised that like even Lauren was not saying like, no, it really is true. She gave it to Kane.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. Unless she's like not really on board with Jamie as she was with Kane, and she's just kind of like, well, let her falter.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if it means that someone else is a target and I am not, why would I open my mouth?
Oh wow.
You know?
Oh wow.
Unless she's like actively trying to save Jamie, which it doesn't seem like she would be.
Right. Well, even Jamie then, I feel like could even if Lauren didn't jump up and say like, no, Jamie, even if Lauren couldn't Jamie say like, oh no, well we all did this. Like Lauren gave me her vote. Like she knows I give it to Kate. Like I don't know. I expected there to be something more between like the Jamie and Lauren thing of being like, no, we all did this together. Like,
she threw her under the bus.
Yeah.
She was like, oh wow, sorry girl.
Yeah.
Better you than me.
Right.
But yeah, so we had an immunity challenge. I saw a lot of people on Twitter that were not too thrilled about this immunity challenge either, because it came down to another puzzle that Carson seemed to know very well, and he won this puzzle, and he won immunity. So Carson was safe, had immunity, didn't have to worry about tribal. But
this is that star puzzle, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to. Does Survivor have a problem here with these puzzles?
I was gonna say
I remember ever seeing this puzzle before.
No.
I could be wrong. It could have been like, but not in a recent season.
Because I was gonna say
I saw thing before.
I saw a lot of people on Twitter talking again about the fact, because we saw in like whatever that tree puzzle was that Carson won it because he had 3D printed it at home, practiced putting it together, and that's how he was able to do it so quickly. And I saw a lot of people talking on Twitter about this again, and I don't remember Carson ever saying anything about it in the episode, but people were like, is this now two puzzles that he has like 3D printed at home, learned how to put together because it's the same thing, and now he's just skating through all these puzzles?
I don't know.
Extinction. Oh, that would. Yeah, I don't think I watched that season, so that would make sense.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call because, like I said, I think we talked about this last time. It's just I think this it's kind of unprecedented. Like,
sure.
I think especially with like because 3D printing is more common now than it ever has been. So like even in the olden days, like you could look at the puzzle and you could study it maybe like on the screen, but you've never really been able to have it in your hands with you. So I think this is now something that moving forward they're going to have to like. I don't think they could have really anticipated him preparing as much as he did.
Because even still, like I think we did talk about this last time Carson went on a puzzle, that like Evie also had the same thing in her season where she like just knew the way that like those like whatever it is, there was like a different puzzle, like the way it's stacked, and she's like, oh, you put this here, that goes there, and then we're done. So like, yes, 3D printing is more accessible, so the more complex puzzles are easier to practice at home, but it still has been a problem that like they just regurgitate the same puzzles that we've already seen, so we know at least a little bit how to put them together already.
Yeah, but is that really the case with this one? Like, that was one thing with that other little tree thing that we saw before, but like,
I don't know. I just like I saw people talking about it. I don't think we
Right,
got
like-
confirmation that he did practice it at home or not.
but even if he did, like, how could you possibly know what shape each piece is? Like, how could you possibly know how that particular puzzle is constructed? Like, to even like replicate it? Like, never mind like practicing it and memorizing it. Like, I mean, like, how could you possibly replicate that just from watching at home? Like, even if you really studied the episode, like, there's no flash of this that's ever going to give you enough of this puzzle, like, to really recreate it. Like,
It's also worth noting that he did falter on it.
He did make one mistake. Yes.
Well, one pretty giant mistake to where he had finished with one piece left and then couldn't finish the puzzle and had to rearrange like quite a few pieces.
He did, but he seemed to recover pretty quick too, which also made because and I didn't really think about it much because he didn't say anything about it. Like in the after the tree one, we actually heard him say like, "I have practiced this exact puzzle at home."
right? Like, maybe he was just good at this one.
But and he could have been. But I it did feel like he made that mistake, and then there was like a few pieces like he knew exactly, like there were a number of pieces he had to fix, but like it felt like he knew exactly which ones needed to be fixed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
True. I don't know. Man is an astrophysicist, though. So
he's very smart.
At
He's very
at
smart.
the, at the end of the day, rocket science and a little star
there's
puzzle. I don't know. It's hard to say because there has been no confirmation. It's possible that they saw people get upset about it and changed the edit. Took any like
True.
mention of him
True.
having practices out of it. I didn't see any tweets from him specifically either
Yeah.
about it.
And maybe they
But-
told him not to.
It's possible. There's
Right.
To be tweeting.
Don't you be tweeting.
Don't you be tweeting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think it is though something that they need to moving forward really kind of address somehow, whether it's making sure that the puzzles are all new, haven't been seen, or making sure that if they are reused puzzles that they're different enough that even having practiced them isn't super helpful, you know?
Right.
At the end of the day, if you're good at puzzles, you're good at puzzles. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. No, it was something that I thought of just because really, like, obviously seeing Carson win another puzzle, it kind of reminded me of the last one, but I really didn't think that much about it until I did see on Twitter, like Gina mentioned, a lot of people talking about it. Like, oh, I don't want to watch another puzzle comp that, Carson printed out at home and practiced before he came. Like, I saw other people tweeting about that, so it was just something that I figured, like, let's ask about it here and talk about it. So,
Right.
One more thing though that I would like to say.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can train on swimming and no one's going to complain that you came in and you were a good swimmer. You can train on climbing, you can train on endurance, you can train on all that stuff, and there's not really an issue. You know what I mean? But like training on the puzzle is a problem. I don't know. I mean, like, I get that it's a more specific type of training when it's the exact puzzle, but it's worth mentioning that, like,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
you can
absolutely.
train on literally every aspect of those challenges.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you get lucky and it ends up in the show.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that's the thing too. Carson could have practiced, could have practiced so many different puzzles before the season started, and half of the ones that he's been practicing won't even show up on the season. So, yeah.
Good at it, Carson.
Yeah.
But all right.
What's happening? A lot of clicking.
Oh, I saw another comment come in here in this chat. Interesting question. You have another comment, Kyle?
Oh no, this is that Matt had a question. I just didn't want to derail the conversation by showing it on the screen, but now you've derailed everything anyway. So anyway,
Show it on the screen, baby.
No, I didn't derail anything.
I did. I always get nervous to show a comment to think that now you have to talk about whatever I showed. So I was trying to like be considerate.
No, it was just
Blew the whole thing up. So anyway, Matt
I
wants to
look,
know if anyone else
I had
has
a thing
noticed
pop
the
up on the
fire
screen
imagery with Carson. Apparently, they're always showing it in his glasses. it's giving Matt some Final Four fire making vibes.
I hadn't
Ooh.
picked up on that.
Yeah, I don't
didn't
know that I've
notice
ever
it.
noticed.
I didn't
Although,
notice it
like,
at all.
now that you say it, like, I am recalling, like, several shots of him at the fire in the glasses.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
like,
I do remember that.
yeah, no, that's very interesting. Who's to say if it's just the Survivor cinematographers are looking like they're getting very fancy lately, like in the newer age, like they're really picking up the slack a little bit, especially with like the next ons. Like there's all these like zooms through the woods, and like
Yeah.
maybe they're just having fun. But that would be a really cool catch, though, if it does amount to something more meaningful.
I agree.
Yeah. I like
I
that.
agree.
Well, I guess we'll be waiting with bated breath. We'll be discussing that and more next Thursday.
Is this really the finale coming up this week?
Next
there's
week,
2 more
Wednesday is the
episodes.
finale.
Yeah.
2 more.
So 2 more. Okay.
So we'll be back with Survivor next Thursday. Finale parties.
But yeah, that pretty much brings us into our first tribal council that we're discussing tonight from episode 10, where we unfortunately saw Franny leave. Franny got 5 votes, Heidi got 2, and Danny got 1 vote, which was cast by Heidi. Which was just interesting to me. It seems, 'cause I know that like the reward challenge, Heidi was there, and the 4 of them, Franny, Carolyn, Lauren, and Heidi were all discussing targeting Danny. But it felt like once camp was reunited, that had really changed. And so it's just interesting to me to see Heidi end up, because Heidi has been like an ally to Danny. So like,
you think it's interesting? I think it really demonstrates that Heidi, even though previously Stand, really does not have a handle of what is going on socially.
well, that's why I think it's
she
interesting.
is way off base.
Yeah.
This woman thought that her number 1 ally was going to be going home, and she stood as the only vote against. That's a disaster. Sorry, Heidi.
Yeah,
Any
I'm
points
just
that were
very
given to
surprised.
you, get out of here.
It's been like sort of a theme this season too, where there's just like stray votes cast all over the place. I feel like
It's just wild.
maybe it's just because we're not seeing enough of what's happening pre-tribal or even
Right, it's
during
like,
tribal.
I feel like at least in some cases there is a piece of like, okay, well, if there is an idol, someone throw a rogue vote to somebody else just in case. Like at tribal, they play an idol, and now we don't have any votes for the person that we want to send out. Like you throw 1 vote on this person, like just in case. But I don't know. I mean, at least with what we saw, there was no conversation about that at all.
No, we're not really getting any of that talk in these edits. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's just been a weird theme that's been going along this season. Whether it's just like there's not enough communication between them, or there's like plans that we're not seeing, or I don't know. But it's definitely been a theme.
Yeah, it was as if like Heidi formed that plan at the reward to vote for Danny, and then didn't have another conversation about it.
No, just floated by the seashore, and then all of a sudden, okay, we good, right, Danny?
Beach. Come on, let it be.
What a mess.
Oh, very funny. But yeah, sadly, we lose Franny.
It's
Sorry,
sad to see her go, but I totally understand why they would vote for her. It makes perfect sense. She was dominating. She was absolutely dominating.
It's exactly what they should have done. I just like her and didn't want her to leave.
Yeah.
It was really cute and wholesome to see how excited she was to be part of the jury, though. That was enjoyable to see. It's always I always enjoy seeing people that aren't bitter when they leave. Like it just
Right.
And she like really took it with stride. Like it was good on her.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I definitely took note of that. The way that she was like, "This is my favorite show, my favorite game," and now I get a front row seat to see who's crowned the next winner. And not only does she get a front row seat, she actually has a say in it. So it's like that is a really cool thing. And the fact that she like her mind went there instead of like being super down about her time in the game being over.
Yeah.
As far as like playing for the actual prize, but I mean she's still in the game, as a juror. But
and now she gets to hang out with Matt. So
I want them to get married. I want them to get married.
Fratty is back together. Fratty.
Maybe we'll get a marriage announcement at the finale, like Rob.
Are they
and
like in real time? Like now, are they together?
I
Or is this
think
just
so. I think that was
I felt
confirmed.
I felt like
Who
I
wants to
saw
get married?
something from like an exit interview where people asked Franny if they were still together, and I think she confirmed that they are.
I love that.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah.
They're so cute. The way that he would look at her, like they would always zoom in on him, like anytime she was doing anything at Tribal, and I was like, oh god.
I know. Now, what's interesting about this to me is that Franny leaves, and Danny kind of led the charge on this, and on getting Franny out. And the reason I think that's interesting is because it wasn't that long ago that we were watching Danny use his idol to save Franny in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
mm-hmm.
it's just, wow. Like, I wonder if you have Danny, honestly, there's a couple of things with Danny, and we're about to talk about his exit from the game. So, like, he seemed like he was set up really well for a while. He had an idol of his own. He ends up using it to save Franny, who then he later pretty much targets immediately to send her out. It's like, kind of feels like a waste of an idol. But not only that, it was Franny that actually went to Danny, right? And she was like the first one to say, why aren't we looking at Tika? We have Ratu, we have Soka gunning for each other. Tika is just this 3 that's in the middle, that's gaining power. They're making moves, they're calling shots. Like, should we be trying to break that up? And Danny laughed her off, said that it was crazy. And now Tika has continued to gain power. Mm-hmm. Danny lost his idol. And then at the end of episode 11 here, we end up seeing him actually leave. So, yeah, like, I don't even know what to say.
I think it speaks to what we spoke about a few weeks ago, where we were saying how the alliances in these shorter seasons with these 6-person tribes aren't so much based on who gets along and where the trust is and any real loyalty, so much as they are like on the people you were stuck together with. Mm-hmm. And I think we're kind of seeing like the breakdown of those alliances because they weren't given the time to really form those connections, really form those bonds with people that they would have naturally formed them with. They're quick as hell to just let them go.
Yeah, it's making me start to come around to this format maybe a little bit more because we are starting to see people play the game more like a game. Like you're seeing your idol play really become more like what is serving me best through this vote. Yeah. Just like you would play a board game. What gets me through this next turn? I don't think about I'm gonna hold my draw 4 until like it's really good. No, like I need to use it now to make sure I don't lose. Like I have to stop it now. So like that, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it causes for some interesting gameplay because again, like it's not like Danny did that because he intended to go forward with Franny. Yep. It's just what he felt served him best in that moment, and I think it's kind of fun.
Franny was a number he needed at the time, and then he decided he didn't need the number anymore, so he let her go.
Right. That's really interesting. For how this game can be played going forward. Let's stop using idols just to protect ours. Like let's use idols to protect me. Yep. And whatever me means, it doesn't necessarily mean that like the night that I'm going to be getting votes. It's like, what is serving me best? I think that's really fun.
It is. And it really is nice to see and exciting to see how much things can shift from week to week.
It makes it a little hard to keep up every now and then. Like I still have trouble telling the tribes apart sometimes. Yeah. But no, it definitely does make things like you never really know what's going to happen. There's no easy votes. It feels like.
Yeah. There was something else. So with Tika, right? Because Tika has remained very strong. There was a comment I think Carson made when there were still 12 people left in the game. There were 3 Tika members, right? Now there's only. At the time in this episode before we get to Tribal, there's 7 people left in the game and 3 of them are Tika members. So it's like they've really done a great job of preserving their trio. But we did see them have a bit of a disagreement in these 2 episodes because Carson and Jam Jam split from Carolyn to vote Franny out. And Carolyn was pissed about this at the beginning of episode 11, like very pissed. But Jam Jam did bring up to her because Carolyn and I, I love Carolyn, but I want to get your opinion on this little disagreement that was had. Carolyn's the queen. I want Carolyn to win the whole season, but I thought it was funny because she did say to Jam Jam, she's like, "I would never do this to you," and Jam Jam was like, "You did this to me. You already did this," because she helped to save Josh, and I think was it Sarah that ended up getting voted out. I think at that tribal from Tika. Carolyn
That
went
sounds right,
against Carolyn went against Jam Jam and teamed up with Josh to keep Josh safe over a original Tika member and Sarah Wade. So what are your thoughts on this? And like Carolyn's kind of feeling like she was betrayed, even though she technically was the first Tika member to betray another Tika member.
I have to be honest, I forgot about it up until this very moment. So I'm gonna give this one to Gina and Kyle.
I mean, I'm watching Kyle struggle to remember who Sarah even is.
Listen, here's my opinion. I don't even know who Sarah is.
I'll pull up Sarah's picture.
Inconsequential. The thing here is that, like, you're telling me this is in the beginning. We didn't even remember it. We have to assume that relationships have evolved past that point of what. Oh my!
I have no recollection of this woman.
Exactly. That face is familiar.
I remember,
but like I couldn't tell you a thing about her. Like if I was walking down ShopRite, I would just look at her and be like, she's familiar.
Sorry to this
and
man.
I would just keep going, like, yes.
Exactly.
Wow. Sorry to this woman. I don't know who she is.
Sorry.
I could be walking down the street.
I remember Sarah.
Sorry, girl. Sorry, girl.
I remember.
But like, simply because even if you did it before, it doesn't mean that you don't get to have an emotional reaction right now. Like that was my thing about this whole conversation. Like, because there was a moment where Carolyn was just like, just leave me alone for a minute. Like it just happened. She's like, just go away. Like, yeah, give her a break. Give her a break. Like, I mean, like, yes, even if you felt like I did it to you and you're telling me it did happen. I don't remember her, so this must have been some time ago. So again, there's still
it was a while ago. There's
still an argument to be made there. The relationships have moved much further past this girl that we don't remember. So like, are you going to judge me on what we did in yesteryear?
Right.
I don't know now.
Yeah.
I don't know now. And either way, I still get to have a reaction to this. Like this is something that happened. You knew that this would happen. Like you knew I would have a negative reaction to it, and then you're also not allowing me to have my negative reaction. So like, give me 5.
The invalidation of the feelings is
right. Even though you're also valid. Oh, we knew it was going to be bad, but it's bad. Well, it is.
We knew it was going to be bad, and it was bad, but we're mad that it's bad.
Exactly. You got what you expected, so let it play out. Like, yeah.
Right.
And like at the end of the day, like they've been with her long enough to know like she's gonna relax.
Right.
She clearly like is the kind of person that like has these like initial gut reactions and then kind of like steps back and is like, okay, let me like readjust to what's going on. Like they know that at this point. So
but
the fact
even
that they're
still,
like,
this is not like a Carolyn quirky thing. This is just how Carolyn handles things. This is exactly how anyone would have handled a situation like this because you thought somebody was doing something in the same line as you, and then all of a sudden they didn't. Like. You're not just gonna walk away from that and be like, all right, so you want me to just boil up some rice? No, you're gonna be pissed. Like
it's like it's similar to like this last season of Australian Survivor with Liz and George when George voted out Shawnee. Liz had that same like kind of initial like negative reaction,
right? Of course,
and then went straight back to George because that was what she needed to do to get through the game, and
it
fucking worked for her. So
yeah,
gotta let people process things, otherwise.
Absolutely. People are human.
And I feel like the moves themselves, Carolyn's move to do that was pre-merge. This move now was post-merge. And I feel like pre-merge, you're dealing with much smaller groups where, if you start with a tribe of 6, just getting 3 people together, you have all the control now, the whole tribe, And now instead where it's post-merge, Tika has stayed true to each other, and they've really been playing for each other the whole way, where it was 3 against 2 larger tribes.
Right.
They could have been steamrolled.
Relationships are different now.
Yeah.
It is different.
So, I do agree. I definitely agree with that.
It's evolved.
And this was the first time that the Tika members were sort of split on what they wanted to do and what they thought was the best move. So I can absolutely understand Carolyn's response here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, you know what annoyed me a little bit.
What did
I
that?
don't
So
know.
so Danny, I really was a bigger fan of Danny when the season started, and lately he's kind of been getting on my nerves a little bit. I don't know why this bothered me so much, and maybe you guys didn't care or even notice at all, but like it really annoyed me how hard he was going to try to figure out who the one vote was that said his name. It's like, dude, like how dare somebody have the audacity to vote for you? Like you're a target in the game, you're a threat, like you're a physical threat, you're a strategic threat. Like we just saw you use an idol to save somebody. Like you're making moves in the game. Like the fact that and
Also,
I
just
don't
like
I don't think
at the
anyone's really said his name before this point, right? Has his name really been out there? So the
but
fact that
not
now
only
you get
that,
one
it's like
vote, like I just
at
thought he
this
was way
point,
too.
once you get this far in the game, the pickings are so slim. Like statistically, somebody is going to write your name down. It's going to happen, especially like if we're seeing in this season, there are so many like random one votes here and there just in case something happens. Like statistically, you're going to get voted somewhere along the line. You're going to get one here or there. It's going to happen.
Paranoia ain't a good look on Survivor. Never goes well for you.
Listen, it's not a good look in any of the shows that we watch in any of these games that we love so much. But I do want you to open your minds up to the to the reality of coming back and put yourself in this position where you know that you got one vote, where you definitely did not expect to get any. I understand the logic behind at some point you're gonna get some right, but then like I can't imagine sitting on a log talking to somebody like, yo, was it you though? Like I'd be so paranoid. Like I don't even want to rock out with you unless I need to know who did it, because I don't want to be getting my water. I don't want to look like a clown on TV. Like I'm just like getting my water with the person who cast that one vote. Like I need to know, is it you?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
It's like, I get it.
like, yeah, like
But-
I mean, like, you know, come on, let's be real about it. Like,
But
I'd
it's
have
also
a
like-
hard time.
The people that are the best at this games are the ones that can adjust, that can let the previous tribal roll off their back.
Oh no, you're right. I'm not saying this is a good way to play. I'm just saying,
I
I'm just saying this
like,
is
I understand.
yeah, this is the human
that,
end of it. That's what it is.
But at the end of the day, like there's $1 million on the line. You know, like just
Right,
let it roll off your back. Do what you
Yeah.
got to do to make it through the next one. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
looking
even-
weak in these games.
I'm not even saying that I wouldn't go back to camp and try to see if I could find out who did put their vote on me. It just felt to me like the way he was going about it, like the way he was questioning people was very like, felt very entitled. It was like, oh, somebody voted for me? How dare someone vote for me? Is whoever did it going to speak up? So, you know, that's like what it felt like. It's like, does someone want to own up to it, huh? You know, like that's what it felt like to me. So it was like very annoying. But like,
Sure,
like,
yeah.
I also agree
yeah.
with like, we're getting down to the game. The numbers are dwindling. It's more likely that somebody is going to put a vote on you. And it wasn't even like he was the person that got the second most votes. It was like Franny got voted out. Another person got even more votes than you, and then you got
You got a vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was just like,
man.
yeah, like of course I'm gonna want to try to find out who voted for me, but it was just the way he did it.
Hmm.
That was
Yeah,
like,
I hear that.
if you're gonna do it, you got to be subtle.
But you know, talking about this one vote for Danny, Tika had a meeting, you know, and they decided that they wanted to actually let Danny know who the person was that voted for him. So Jam Jam goes to Danny and tells him that it was Heidi. And this spectacularly backfires because Danny does not buy it. He goes to Heidi, they talk, they're all good. And now Danny's telling people he wants to target Jam Jam and Carson. So this was like the one time that I feel like anything that Tika has tried to do sort of like didn't, like obviously they had a disagreement in the vote at the last tribal, but like this was the first time that I felt like they had a conversation with someone outside of their group of three. And like immediately afterwards it was like no, now the two targets we're going after are from Tika. You know, it was like it was interesting. But yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah, but it set the stage for such wonderful workings later. So like,
Oh, it absolutely did.
yeah, Like that's a nice cliffhanger, but it does resolve itself
Hmm.
in something wonderful.
Very satisfying. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really does.
So
Um,
what we're painting as a bad display did not end that way.
exactly. We're
Yeah.
just building it up. We're just
Right.
building it up.
Right. Which is
Because
why-
this now brought us to our immunity challenge, which was a classic, Last Gasp.
Love this one.
Ugh.
Love this one.
This is a great one.
No, this one makes me so anxious. I hate this competition. Oh,
It makes me
Low-key.
anxious too, but
Low key, I feel like I could kill this challenge.
no, oh my god, I get so stressed out watching it.
I don't
would
think
like
I
to
would
try
do
this.
well, but I would like to try it.
yeah, I'd like to
Yeah.
try this one.
I want to try it.
But the last time we saw this one was just last season, right? In 43. We
Uh-huh.
watched
Mhm.
Carla and Owen both outlast the High Tide
Yeah.
to win immunity together.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Yes, we did not have that this time, but it came down to Heidi and Jam Jam, Danny's number one target, and Jam Jam pulls it off. And you know what?
I
had a
was
feeling
so
he was going to win.
happy.
Yeah. As soon as Jeff went to him, it was like talking to him, and Jam Jam was just like, "Oh, I was holding on to those bars. I'm just making friends with these bars. I'm kicking my feet. I just felt like, I don't know. I think Jam Jam's he's gonna hold on. The bars are his friends.
That's what's kind of cool about this challenge is that you often see people win it that you wouldn't expect to like be good at the challenges at all. Like with Carla last season too, like she wasn't really like she was at no point a challenge beast. She was hurt for most of the season. She was a mess, to put it lightly.
Right.
And like it was cool to see. Like it's always cool to see somebody like that's maybe considered an underdog and the challenges come through and win something. And like this is a challenge that allows for that. So
Mhm.
that's something where I always like seeing this one pop up.
Yeah. That was a great
I
one.
was
It a
I
really
was
great
so
one.
happy Jam Jam took this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
Very
funny.
happy for Jam Jam. And
Mm.
you could see how much it meant to Jam Jam afterwards. Like the way he was talking about, everyone in my family is athletic, and he named them. He said, my mother is very athletic, my father is very athletic, my brother, and even the way he said the next part, because I rewatched this like just a little while ago before we got on, so I remember like very clearly what he said. But like the fact that he said his whole family is athletic, my mom, my dad, my brother, and then he didn't say like I'm so proud of myself. He named all that, and then he said they're gonna be so proud of me, and that just made me happy. I don't know,
Yeah.
I don't know, just the way that happened really made me happy. So yeah, but
It's a nice moment.
so Jam Jam is immune from the next tribal,
Immune.
which immediately takes away a target that was being talked about at camp. Now, this I thought was interesting too, because after Jam Jam is now taken off the table, it seemed like the target just became Carson, right? Before it was like Jam Jam and Carson. I don't know if they were talking, I forget if they were really talking about maybe splitting votes on them potentially in case of an idol. But it didn't really go from like, all right, we're targeting Tika, let's do Jam Jam and Carson. Now we can't get Jam Jam, so it'll be Carson and Carolyn. Carolyn still remained not even a thought. It was instead just, all right, we can't get Jam Jam, so we got to vote out Carson now. Like, were you surprised at all that at this point
It doesn't surprise me to see them underestimate her. Not even in a little bit.
I love so much that nobody realizes how threatening she is because
Right.
I'm obsessed with her. Like I want her to win it, and I just love so much how not one person looks at her as someone that they have to get rid of.
Right, and she is so like surprisingly perceptive.
That was
Yeah.
Like, and that really, really came to light in this episode. And this
absolutely. I was very impressed with her with the way she was navigating the situation, and she was like, I don't know how she knew, but she knew it was Carson, and she
Yep. 3 cheers for Carolyn.
She is fantastic. The way that she just caught on to it immediately. No, they're and like the fact that it wasn't just like, oh, I think something else might be going on. It was literally they're trying to get out Carson. It's like she literally the exact plan that they had. She picked up on not just that something felt off or she wasn't sure if the votes were really going to go that way. It was literally the exact plan that the other side had is what she figured out immediately. That was incredible.
Yeah.
But Carolyn, of course.
Yeah.
She had an ace up her sleeve.
She sure did.
Right? Because because we go to tribal. We go to tribal.
You're so
And-
dramatic. As if people didn't watch it.
Well, I just like to make.
I like the way he
exciting.
does this. It's like he's telling me a story, and I'm watching
Exactly.
the episode all
Yeah,
over.
He's like,
again.
and then what happened?
I'm like
Yes.
sitting on the story time rug in elementary school, and I'm just like, okay, what's next? What's next?
It's like the radio version of Survivor.
I did. Just remember, I did run a literacy program at St. John's University for
fun.
3 years. So, literally,
That'll do
the job was to train college students to read books to children. So,
There you go. There you go.
yeah,
Will I be
Um,
engaged?
yeah, of course.
I just like that he said "just remember" as if that is information he has told all three of us before.
You didn't know that? Come on.
No,
No idea.
you
Whatever.
are always dropping facts about yourself on these podcasts that we've never heard before.
I knew.
I'm a man
Well,
of mystery.
I haven't forgotten the last thing we learned about John on a podcast episode. So
I don't remember the last thing you learned about me. I don't know if I want to know what it was. So moving on. We went to tribal council.
Right, because it wasn't during the actual pod, or was it during like when we
no,
get along?
you don't remember. I'm sorry, you don't remember the moment mid episode where John just casually was like, "Oh well, I didn't do Boy Scouts, but I did take Irish step dance when I was a kid for a long time," and we were like,
Oh yeah.
"What?"
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I
and
totally
did
forgot
not
I
remember that, and I'm actually
Forgot.
very glad that this has come back to our memory.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
I forgot
What?
that I mentioned that.
What I like about that is the context. You said I didn't do Boy Scouts, but I did take Irish dance, as if those two things are somehow similar
linked.
or linked in any way.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea what the context was for that. Like, I have no idea why.
We were talking about Survivor. Kyle said he had learned something in Boy Scouts, and he went, "Oh, I never did Boy Scouts. I did this though." We were like, "What?" He tried to like just casually continue the conversation, and we went, wait."
I could have been in
Everybody's
Riverdance.
involved.
I
my
was on
goodness.
track. I was on track to be a member of a Riverdance. You know.
It's not too late.
I'm getting flashes.
I'm still
Why-
waiting on those videos. I know
Right.
they got to be
Right.
somewhere.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Because I was supposed to reach out to Mary Kate.
And Ashley?
Mary Kate also did Irish step dancing with me, and
Which means
she
she definitely
Right, which
has
is why
video.
we have
She
to
will
get
not-
video proof.
she also do not message my sister Kyle.
Just keep on recapping the show.
Well,
What is
whatever.
the radio version?
we have got on such a tangent here.
Oh my God.
We are now talking about tribal council from episode 11 of Survivor
Yes,
44.
yes.
That's what we're doing
Yes, we
now.
are.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
As I see Kyle typing away to my sister to try to get videos of me Irish step dancing. I don't know if there are even any, if there even are any of those.
Well, if they are, we're gonna get them.
Be on a VHS.
BCH.
What?
I'm
VCH.
Gen Z. Thank you very much.
BCH.
BCH. It's fantastic.
Wow.
All right, but anyway, so we went to tribal. People wanted to vote out Carson. Carolyn said no, absolutely not.
No.
She had the idol from the Tika tribe. Now, it's funny to me, like, because obviously she got this, she didn't tell anybody about it, but as I was like, getting ready to watch Carolyn use this idol, I was thinking to myself, like, people have to like, people keep track of this stuff, right? Like when someone has an advantage, when they use it, if they haven't used it, like things like that. Like, I'm almost surprised. I don't remember anybody ever bringing up like what happened to Tika's idol. You know what I mean? Like everybody's known that
Right.
Jamie had an idol, even if it was fake. Danny, we saw use his idol. Like Matt, we saw before he left, like had his fake idol in his bag. Like people talked about their idol. It's just funny because Tika came in and it feels like nobody cared about anything that happened at Tika pre-merge. Because even the fact, like, everybody has to know that at some point Tika had an idol and a fake idol from that birdcage. So like, why hasn't anybody ever brought up the idea that, like, even the fact when they, before the immunity challenge that Jam Jam won, like, nobody from Tika's used an idol, if we're going to target Jam Jam and Carson, maybe we have to figure out if one of them has an idol. You know, like I was a little surprised about how well this secret was kept. Like obviously Carolyn did her part, but just
I mean,
like the
to
fact
be
that
fair,
no
like-
one had Tika having an idol on their radar at all was surprising to me a little bit.
I mean, I kept forgetting that she had this idol, you know, like I don't know if it's like maybe those conversations were happening. They're just not a part of the edit or whatever it was. Like I completely forgot that she had it until I think last time we were talking, someone mentioned it and I went, oh shit, she does have an idol. So
Yeah.
either
Mhm.
they were trying to suss it out and we just didn't see it, or like maybe they assumed it got used pre-merge or someone left with it or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet probably that it got that's. Oh my goodness! I would bet that they thought someone left with it just because Carson and Jam Jam obviously knew neither of them had it, and
Mhm.
they right away that whole tribe assumed that Carolyn didn't have it. So
Right.
I think they probably just thought Carson and Jam Jam probably did their part, not unknowingly being like, "Oh yeah, it probably went home with one of the other girls." You know, like
Yeah.
I just don't think it was ever even like something
Yeah.
that they even imagined could be possible.
Right.
Which is hilarious.
Okay. And Matt is telling us also Sarah did have the fake idol. So,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe people just like really that was wow. Like just another thing for Carolyn. Just the fact
Yeah.
that she was able to keep that secret for so long, so well. But in the end, we actually find out that technically Carolyn didn't even need to use this thing because Carson only got 2 votes. We saw Heidi get 2 votes, but the leading vote getter was Danny with 3 votes, which this could have turned out very differently. We saw afterwards that Carolyn had actually, because she was in this voting booth for a while, it looked like.
Yeah.
And we actually found out that she had originally written Lauren's name down, crossed it out, and wrote Danny's name. So there was a chance that we were going to get a 3-way tie of Carson, Danny, and Heidi. So would that have changed anything? You think? Like, would that have
Carson's
I
changed?
mean, what?
Sorry.
Sorry. I was going to refresh my memory. Because this idol was used, if there was a revote, he's not eligible to be voted out at any vote, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
once the idol, once you're immune, you're immune. So any votes cast for him wouldn't count, and
Sure.
then which means that the other 2 would have tied, which means that they would have been the ones. On the
Gotcha.
In the revote.
So Carson
And
still
I-
would have been safe. Danny probably still would have went home.
I was going to say, I feel
the
like
end
at
of the
that
day.
point, everyone would have been like on board. Fine, let's get rid of Danny.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, because that would mean that both Danny and who was it, Heidi both wouldn't have voted, and
Right.
Carson, Jam Jam, and Carolyn would have been probably on the same page at that point.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. It's just so funny how much seems to always hinge on Carolyn's decisions. You know, like it's just she's amazing.
I love her.
I know. What did you think of what did you think of Danny's Robert De Niro impression as he
Oh
walked
my
out of the game?
god.
So
Painful.
uncomfortable.
The
Cringe.
second-hand embarrassment that I was feeling in this moment, and it felt like it went on forever. He said it
So
like
long.
7 times, and I was like, "Can we please stop?
Stop
Can we please
it.
stop?"
I slightly blame Jeff Probst for that because I also felt like at some point, maybe like 5 seconds earlier, he could have been like, "All right, you're out of here." He just stood there.
I think he was in shock because I would have been for sure. He was just
Well,
like,
I
"What
mean,
is
Like, it's like I feel like he was having like an
on?
out-of-body experience. Like, what is happening in front of me right now?
Is Danny a father? Like, who is this for now? I remember
he
he
said
said
his friends.
family. Oh,
He just said
He
his
said
Very
he
family.
promised somebody that like if he was getting snuffed out, he would do it.
Yeah.
All right. I
That's
thought
not a
if this was
promise
like
I'd
a
be keeping.
daughter or something like this, I would say, like, you know what? I would not want to, like, I don't want to cut off a special moment between, like, you know, a father and his daughter.
No, I think it was like a bet with his friends. Like, oh, well, if
Yeah,
you
I
get
don't-
snuffed, you got to
there
do
was
it.
no
Then
mention
never
of
mind.
children.
Okay. All right. Then never mind. I wanted to try
it
and
was
make it
definitely,
sweet,
like-
you know.
No.
It was
You know,
definitely
like-
it wasn't it definitely wasn't like one specific person. It was a general thing. Like he was like, "Oh, I told everybody back home I De Niro you."
Oh,
So
yikes. I wonder what Robert would have to say about this.
I don't
should
think
reach out.
he.
We'll
Get him on a pod, maybe.
Yeah, we're on the next Thursday as we recap the finale. We'll
Yeah.
see what Robert De Niro thinks about.
We'll reach out to Robert De Niro, his people, and we'll set some to get his reaction.
We're gonna get him.
Yeah,
You heard it
So
here
stay tuned.
first.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
So stupid.
Oh my
This is
god.
not official. This is not official.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So with this, following this tribal, brings us down to 6 people, 3 of which are the Tika members, which really is just amazing to me. It was not that long ago that we were talking about how, Ratu and Soka are going to war, and nobody cares about Tika. Franny was the only person that noticed anything. Danny completely shot her down and then voted her out right after. And now here we are. Tika is half of the remaining Survivor contestants, which I love, but I am a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean the preview for next week wasn't too promising on the Tika front, but things that could have just been a attention grabber. We shall see. Right. We shall see. Sure. I think they. I mean, like I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
It seemed like from what I had seen, it looked like Jam Jam was the one really talking about. Now we gotta get Carolyn out. Obviously, we saw Jamie, Heidi, and Lauren mentioning, we got to break up Tika. They didn't, specifically say Carolyn, but just that they have to get, somebody from Tika out. But it was when Jam Jam mentioned, Carolyn could win. I got to take out Carolyn. That's where I got a little nervous. So
yeah,
right.
And now everybody knows she doesn't have her idol, but could it be going back into circulation now that it's been used? Or
absolutely, I would say that there's. I don't think because wait, does Heidi still have an idol?
Heidi does still have an idol.
So
how do you remember that?
I don't know. But there's possible that there's another one that's going to be out and about now. It's hard to say because usually there's only like one, but because there's one from each tribe, I'm not sure. I would imagine they're going to look for it though. Either way.
Well, I hope Carolyn finds it.
Me too.
Do you think now that Carson has been, not necessarily saved by Carolyn, because we found out that really Carson would have had the votes to stay. But if Carson found it, let's say, I'm not so sure about Jam Jam after this preview for next week, but do you think if Carson was to find an idol and it was clear that Carolyn was going to be the one voted out, do you think that Carson would use it on Carolyn? Or is Carson the type of player that's going to keep it to himself?
I think he might. I think he is an emotional enough. I don't think he's a super emotional player, but I think he's emotional enough. And I think that there's clearly a connection between him and Carolyn, like sort of a mother-son kind of deal, to the point where I think he might be willing to save her. But it's hard to say.
Do you think he would want to sit next to her in a final too?
I think they all still see her as a GOAT.
Even after this move?
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, she used the idol, but that wasn't what saved him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think...
I will say... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know that one idol play, because a lot of what Carolyn's gameplay has been is just been seen by us, I feel like, and stuff that she's going to have to, like, be... If she makes it to that final tribal, she's going to have to, like, be able to explain to all of them. I don't know that like from their point of view, that one idol play is enough to make her the winner per se. But but I've been so wrong about so many things that I thought were going to happen. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe Heidi will win it all.
Right. Hey, you never know. I will say, I just want to mention also that I'm very happy that now that Danny has left, Carolyn has gotten rid of Brandon and Danny, the two bros that were just scheming and planning their way through the game and just ignoring her and acting like she wasn't even there at that reward. And now they're both gone, and she's playing idols to save allies and pulling off all moves. And it's great to see. So I did want to also mention that. But
it's a nice observation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But does anybody have anything else? I think that's all I got for episode 10 and 11. Did I forget anything? Anything else happen that Oh, there was one other thing. How about this with Carson, who was pretty close with Kane, right? telling Jamie that Kane had been telling people about her idol, right? Kane's been voted out because this is another reason that I think I thought of the Carolyn question, where if he found an idol now, would he use it to potentially save Carolyn or keep it to himself? Because Kane was an ally of his. He was now going to Jamie to say that Kane was spreading to everybody that she had an idol. And then we saw in his confessional afterwards, right? Carson was saying, I'm telling Jamie that Kane told everyone that she had an idol, but really it was me that was telling everybody. But now that Kane's out of the game, I can say whatever I want and he can't defend himself. So like seeing that little side of him, you know, and that side of his game made me wonder, like, what else is he capable of with like potentially backstabbing an ally in the future? Even though Kane's out of the game. So it's not like he was like messing with his game while he was still in, but still, this is definitely a sneaky move, you know. So.
It's sneaky, but I think that is an important distinction. I think because he specifically mentioned now that he's out of the game, it doesn't matter what I say. You know what I mean? I think also because if he was to go around lying about Carolyn, then she could always come back if she found out, which she probably would, knowing her, and be like, that's not what happened. You know, like I think it's way easier to make those moves about people that can't defend themselves than it is about people that are still there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Definitely. I agree. And yes, I know Kyle has his hand up. Two of our most loyal listeners, Liz and Matt, have come to to save us. To remind us what we forgot about.
Yeah, there was something else I wanted to touch on. I wanted to talk about 90-minute episodes. There was a point in our conversation where we had there was something that we wanted some more context around, and I don't exactly remember like what prompted this. So I didn't want to derail what the conversation was, but now I don't remember what the conversation was. But we have already kind of seen some 90-minute episodes basically in relationships and voting blocks. Yes, we saw some like 90-minute episodes, basically an Australian Survivor. And how do you feel about that in this format of game? Like, I see a lot of value in it in a game that's longer because I want to know more about the relationships. Because we get to see those relationships play out a little bit more. But now if we're getting 90-minute episodes, what is this tapping, this banging?
Mikey, are you like hitting
Sorry, that's me. That's me.
Like,
fidgeting.
I'm hearing banging and I saw his hand slightly moving.
I was playing with my AirPods case on the mic. Sorry, my bad.
Wait, what is this sound? Like we're seeing like an Australian Survivor, these relationships like play out, right? So like there's like some more value in seeing like more context around that. But we kind of did say tonight that like these relationships almost don't matter as much because now we're seeing the game played more like a game. So do we need 90 minutes of American Survivor?
What I'm hoping is that there will be, if there's more reward challenges happening that we're just not seeing, that we'll get to see some of that.
Yeah,
and also there's been plenty of votes, specifically that first vote, if we remember, with where Jamie played her shot in the dark and it worked.
Yes.
Right.
Just like those kinds of votes where
idol and he
where we have very little context for why people are voting the way they are. And I think the tribals in particular have been pretty short, especially compared to the Australian Survivor tribals, which tend to go on for 10 to 15 minutes, whereas these ones seem to be about 5 to 8.
I mean, the thing with that, though, I feel like you're going to say what I was going to say.
Yeah. Because these tribals, I don't need any more of it if this is what you're going to give me. These tribals are literally just metaphors. No one's actually talking about the game. Yep. It's like, well, if I'm a canoe and I have 2 oars, but like there's one that feels a little shaky, like, do I get rid of it now? Or do I just like, I don't know, because I don't know what the weather might be later. So maybe I don't want to be without 2 oars, even though I don't trust that oar. So like, it's really, it's a game of, it's a game of chance. It's so annoying. Like, it's like, what am I listening to? If you just give me an extra 15 minutes of that, miss me with it. Just bring it out an hour and just wrap us up.
like I feel like what if we had one tribal on this season where people actually like got up and walked around and talked to each other? Like it feels like it happens almost every other tribal on Australian Survivor, where the
It's
way
not
that
even just that,
right, like,
though.
I
but
know
like
what
where,
each
but
pocket of people
like,
are going to be talking about.
right,
I
like,
know
and the
what's
way,
happening.
and I think a lot of it has to do with the way that Jonathan LaPaglia chooses to run those tribals, and it's like
Right.
the way that he starts conversations and steers conversations makes people start to doubt, because he will actually ask you about something that was in a conversation you just had on the beach.
Specific
Like
pointed
JLP, yeah.
questions.
Like
Yes.
JLP is clearly watching footage and then going
Yes.
to tribal.
I'm in the
And
game.
like, or people are like filling him in, like,
Yeah.
these two had a conversation about this. This person said this to this person. Like, and then you go there, and now tribal becomes this unhinged,
Yeah.
crazy thing. I thought I could trust 8 people here. I can trust no one. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, and like, it's just such a different vibe. And like, if it was that exciting every time, where people are getting up and walking around and trying to now change the plan while they're actually in the middle of the tribal, like, it just is so exciting. And here we don't get that. It's very dry, a lot of analogies.
Yeah.
And then, all right, it's time to vote.
It's like, oh, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lame.
Also, it's possible that they're going to do 98-minute episodes and just shove 2 episodes into one.
You think so?
I mean, I don't think it's out of the question.
My
Like,
thing
so
is
tribal cancels every episode?
Yeah.
Are these seasons that have already happened? Like, is this a season that's already happened and they're just editing it to be a 90-minute episode? Or have these not happened yet? Like, is there a possibility of a longer season and 90-minute episodes? Or is this already wrapped?
It's probably already wrapped. When do we know when the start date would be on it?
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
There's usually like a summer one, isn't there? Or maybe like
Because I know
Summer
from
is
what-
Big Brother.
Because
So
I know
probably
that
like
for a while
September.
they've been filming
September,
them kind
yeah.
of back to back to back, but
They typically have I think they usually tend to film 2 seasons at a time, like one back to back. I'm not so 45 and 46 would then be together.
because the longer episodes are because of the strike, yeah,
Yeah.
the writer strike.
Oh, is that
That's
what it
they're
is?
saying. That's what
Because
they're
it's
saying.
reality TV, so it's not like
The thing is, you could also re-edit these. I also wonder, like, maybe there's more reward challenges that are actually happening that, like we said, like we're just not seeing. So you can just re-edit these to just give us more of what has already happened, and maybe we'll just get more context around all these things. We're just like,
yeah, no, that. But I'm also saying, like, is it possible? Because you were saying, like, you like that more in an Australian Survivor setting where it's a longer season.
Right.
Is it possible that they would just extend the season, or can they not do that because it's already happened and they're just putting in stuff that they would have cut elsewhere,
Right.
like otherwise?
yeah,
You know,
maybe they're just putting in like other stuff. Maybe who knows?
Yeah, I think there are seasons that have already been filmed, but that are maybe they felt like they had enough content and they were like we can do this, let's do it.
Yeah.
I gotta say, nowadays I trust these Survivor editors and cinematographers to give me something exciting. The editing is not the issue in these seasons of Survivor.
Yeah, I think
at
they'll be
all.
okay. I think they'll be okay. If I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go off on a real tangent. I'm more concerned about The Amazing Race. No offense to Michelle and Lewis. Like, we love them down. But, like, come on now. 90 minutes. I don't know that I necessarily need that much of The Amazing Race. Right? Because there's no,
it's not as strategic. Yeah.
Right. There's no strategy to talk about. There's none of that going on. It's like, it's a very fun show to watch. I quite enjoy it. But, like, 90 minutes. My mind.
Yeah.
How much more do I need to see of you struggling? Like, I get it. It was hard. You had a rough go. And that's the only extra we'll get, right? Like, what more could you possibly get? It's just more troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I hear you.
But
Well,
sometimes
anybody
it
have
sounds
anything
like
else?
an airport. No.
Just a little bit of this.
Michael.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like other noises
A lot
tonight.
of sounds tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of sounds, noises. And I was having
Some of it
technical
is you, I
difficulties
think.
earlier.
Like a wooing. I'll go. Who hears?
No,
that?
I can hear it also.
I'm hearing that too.
Is that my air conditioner? It might be my air conditioner.
Like if it was coming from me, I wouldn't also be
Yeah.
hearing
Like
it in my
if I
headphones.
mute my microphone right
So
now,
it's
do you stop
clearly
hearing it? Hold on,
Gina's
wait.
Yep, it's you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Gina.
It's my air
Gina.
conditioner.
Oh my gosh. Oof.
You're over here blaming
Listen,
me.
it's toasty in here. All right, I need my air.
It's rough.
Well, what do we have coming up, guys? Huh?
We have the challenge finale on
That's
Thursday.
right.
That's actually when Billy will be joining us. We presented
Mm.
him with a new option,
Yeah.
and we moved him to Thursday. He talks about Survivor enough on his podcast, Reality Guys, so he wants to talk the challenge because they don't be catching up right. So,
And it's
doing
big,
it
you know,
here.
it's a big night to join because it's the finale. So, love this Gina Mikey feud, says Matt
Some
Blevins.
things never change.
Yeah, this
There's
is-
no feud. Me and Gina love each other deeply.
Sure.
So yeah, this Thursday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be talking about the finale, the final of the Challenge World Championship, the first ever World Championship. That's what we'll be doing Thursday night. And then after that, are we back next Monday? Or are we just doing?
No,
Thursday,
we're off
right, just-
Monday.
That's right. So we'll be with you this coming Thursday and then next Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, when we will be talking about the Survivor 44 finale. So
Wow.
after tonight, our next two streams will be for finales. It's
Yeah,
pretty exciting.
yeah, wrapping things up.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, wow, what
Some
a
big stuff
feeling.
coming up. Ooh, what a feeling.
Yeah, because we've gone nonstop since like what? Big Brother Canada 10? I
Yeah,
don't
it
think
feels
we've
like
had a
it's-
break.
It's really been
Yeah.
There's
really
been
been-
no break.
yeah. Been a lot happening.
Well, actually, that's not even true. Because didn't
Yeah, we
didn't Celebrity
did all 3
Big
years,
Brother
right?
didn't Celebrity Big Brother 3 go right into BB Can? We
Did it?
haven't
I
had a
don't
break
remember.
since like last January.
Yeah. And we've done
Yeah.
the Mole, we've done the Traders, we've done
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Australian
Yeah,
Survivor, Big Brother Canada, everything.
Well, we started Drag Race All Stars. We just didn't finish it.
We did
Right.
literally
Yeah,
what
we
everything until the finale, and then
Yeah.
just never talked about the finale, or did
Yeah,
we
because
stop
then
halfway
Big
through?
Brother started. We were like, "Sorry, girl."
we should really wrap that up. Give our final recap. Give
No,
our final
James
recap.
was
A
saying-
year later.
I think we're late to it now, but James was saying like, oh, right before the next season, we should do one episode to be like, and this is the finale of last season, and also the beginning of the new season, and let's
Yeah,
go.
Yeah,
No,
that was fun. It was just that there was so many other things happening.
So much
But, like,
happening.
there
Yeah.
were too many
Yeah.
things going on. Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
all right. So
So
But yeah.
that's it. Just
got some good stuff coming up.
moving to
Check it
Thursday.
out. Maybe there'll be videos of me Irish step dancing. Who knows?
Please.
We'll see. We'll see.
I'm working on it.
But yeah, that's us. So this is Strat Chat, your favorite reality TV podcast. Check us out on the socials at Strat Chat Pod. Check out the website, www.stratchatpod.com. Give us a like. Throw us a comment. We love talking to people. Give us a subscription. Follow us. Whatever. Matt Blevins is playing Among Us again tomorrow night if anyone wants to join. Always a good time. All right. Love you, everybody. Have a great night. Whoa!